Nerdrotic.com.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner, everybody. Good Monday morning. Hope you're all in the Christmas spirit, like I am. We started Christmas decorating and packing at the same time. No, it doesn't make sense, but the things we do in this household rarely do. So that's part of that. And hope everybody had a great weekend. Seth Rogen didn't, although he's a troll. He's a freaking troll. So I watched Santa Inc. It's 8 episodes. 8 episodes of a gag that maybe, and I mean just outside of the outsidest possibilities, might have been funny as a 1.5-minute gag. Stretched over 8 episodes, and I was trying to how can you encapsulate this? How can you describe it in one sentence? And you really can't. But I think it's something like comedians past a prime they never really had, making comedy for people who never had a sense of humor, or if they did, lost it a long time ago and wouldn't laugh even if they could remember how. Abortion jokes, a lot of crass humor, and I love crass humor. And I will say, comedy is one of the most difficult art forms, if not the most difficult art form outside of being a musician, or maybe equal with being a musician, because you have to fail the most to get good at comedy, and you have to, comedians are their own separate mindset that I have noticed are the ones I've met. Seth Rogen, at best, is a bit player. Sarah Silverman, I never knew the appeal of her, but I mean, she seems like, they made rave jokes. So it's like middle-aged comedians trapped in their 20s. I don't know. But, crass humor, all humor, be it crass, intellectual, is very difficult. And it requires immense talent that neither Sarah Silverman or Seth Rogen or the writer, I forgot her name, Lisa Goldberg, I think, have. They don't have the talent. There's no such thing as feminist comedy. It's called complaining. Now, some people might say, hey, there's George Carlin. All he does is complain. No, he is a comedian, because anybody can complain, but not everybody is funny. And that's the difference. I watched the movie Punchline many years ago when I worked at the La Paloma. And I saw the movie Punchline more times than I care to admit, and it wasn't very good. But one of the interesting things that came out of that movie, and I think it was Sally Field and Tom Hanks. And Sally Field wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And one of the things Tom Hanks says is, well, your biggest problem is when you go on stage, you try to do comedy. And I don't. And he's supposed to be kind of the successful comedian, but he's kind of a burnout. And again, I was a burnout when I was watching this. So I don't remember much of it because it was in the late 80s, early 90s. when I was doing the Rocky Horror thing over there. So yeah, we're gonna go over Santa Inc. It's everything wrong with Hollywood. If you want to talk about an encapsulation, it's everything wrong with Hollywood. It's subversion for subversion's sake, and you're trying to subvert Christmas. But I dare say when you go into parody, you should approach your material, unless you're parodying, like there are exceptions, but if you're going into parody, like the Venture Brothers is a parody of Saturday morning cartoons and comics, but it does it with a reverence, a love. Same with The Tick. The Boys is the comic book is a parody of superheroes written by somebody who loathes them and has never liked them. There's the biggest difference. Both work in their own way because the creators had immense talent. I don't know how good of a person Garth Ennis is, based on what I've heard, but I know he's a very talented writer. And somehow has magically been able to avoid being Me Too'd in the comic book industry. I don't know how. Maybe because he was somewhat of I don't know if he's a recluse or not. Kind of seemed that way. But anyway, there's that. There is Doctor Who, of course. We had the Doctor Who FLUXED finale, which was just, we'll get into it. It was just, it's regular bad. I say like the entire foundation of the show has been derailed due to wokeness and identity politics and intersectional feminism, but this was just garden variety. I produced some shit. Chris Chibnall. Then there's Daredevil is coming back into the MCU. I don't know if it's coming back or if it's going to be a different version. That is the biggest question. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that I believe Daredevil season 1 and 2 are the two best things Marvel has produced live action, period. Since the advent of Marvel Studios. But I put it right up there with, I would rather watch it than Winter Soldier, which I love. I put it right up there with Guardians of the Galaxy. I put it right up there with Spider-Man 2, with Superman the movie. Daredevil season 1 is pure excellence. It's how you adapt a comic book perfectly, absolutely perfectly, with the side characters, everybody, and the best Marvel villain, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Arguably, there's Thanos out there, but I think Kingpin is better, much better. Will we see the Netflix Daredevil and Kingpin in the MCU? Absolutely not. That is just like, get that out of your mind. Won't happen. Unless Kevin Feige changes his ways and decides to go rated R with some of the Marvel stuff, which they need to do. I mean, it's a giant Achilles heel. I mean, aside from going woke and bypassing characters that have been beloved for generations to rush into characters that are only liked by a precious few because they are confirmation bias characters like Kate Bishop. By the way, Miles Morales got brought up. Tom messaged me. I guess Tom from Midnight said, been a little squabble on Twitter. And he had thought some of it had drifted into my timeline. That's actually not the case. I saw what happened to Tom later, but I put up a couple of tweets last night. One was in the gym, so I'm fucking misspelled something, whatever. Responding to comments I was getting on my Hawkeye review, because in my Hawkeye review, I said Kate Bishop is Kate Bishop and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. This is a fact. These two characters are known by the people who do know them by their names first. Nobody calls them Hawkeye first. They might say that later, but if you put up an image of Kate Bishop, somebody will go Kate Bishop. They won't go Hawkeye. And if you put up an image of Miles Morales, I would say 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 at best will go Miles Morales. That's just a fact. That's not anything. Those aren't rules I made. That's just it. And there's a good reason. Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 60 years, 50, 60 years, almost 60 years. And Miles Morales is not. He's a derivative character. We'll get into it. But I just put up on Twitter. It's a great experiment for how trash Twitter is. And, of course I have to be there because of my channel. I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for my channel. I don't interact with, I'll positively interact, but I don't get in like Twitter spats. It's a ginormous waste of time. But my timeline has been filled with a lot of stuff reading into my comment, which simply said, I did two of them. I said, Peter Parker is Spider-Man and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. And then I switched it around and said, Spider-Man is Peter Parker and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. I didn't say Miles Morales sucked. I didn't say that. That's all I said. But people have read so much into it, and it's beautiful. It's just like on. Here. Funny coincidence. I was looking through some comics in my garage. I found a box, an old box, an aged box that's kind of yellowed. I'm not going to pick up the box, but I'm going to show you what's in the box. Been looking for these, and Max, if you're out there, I've got one for you, buddy. I did some variants for the comic shop I used to own. Oh, by the way, those comments are filled with never read the comics, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I love those. Those are my favorite. I did some variants. What you basically did was you paid Marvel thousands of dollars and committed to thousands of books. And then you can put a cheap ass cropped image of your comic shop or basically on the cover. So you can have an exclusive Comic Outpost variant for what was Avengers Assembled #1, Amazing Spider-Man 666, and Spider-Men #1. I had purchased, I think, 2,500 copies of each. Most were destroyed in a very unfortunate sewage pipe accident from the neighbor next door, one door down, who had a salon, who decided not to hire a plumber and let her boyfriend F around with the pipes that were under our store. And it's San Francisco. So I had a basement under my store, and he cut off a pipe that was straight up the sewage pipe, which dumped all over my books. I lost 10,000 comic books. And almost my mind. By the way, never recouped. Insurance doesn't give a fuck about that stuff. My landlord was cool and gave me, a few months off the rent, which was pretty cheap anyway, which he did not have to do, and I did not ask him to do it. But he did it. So, I digress. There's not many of these things left. But I did find a box of Spider-Man #1. It's got a picture of my kid, but he's young, so I'm gonna be okay with this. Usually I do not like to put up pictures of my kids for obvious reasons. But they're much older now, so I think it's fine to show it. There we go. That's in my first podcast office in San Francisco, my downstairs basement. There's little Junior standing in front of my life-size Spider-Man and my cutouts and all this stuff. And, it's not, I could have done better with the picture, but whatever. I have a Tobey Maguire poster with the Twin Towers in the reflection of his eye. I have a big banner of that too. I also have the trailer, the 35 millimeter trailer that they pulled. But yeah, you got this. They forgot to put my logo on top like they were supposed to. But yeah, that's the Comic Outpost variant. I got a few of these that I'm going to give away at my meetup, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here in San Diego. Because we're going to watch Spider-Man No Way Home, and then we're going to do a meetup at a karaoke bar. So in about 30 minutes, I'll make the official announcement where the place is, where we're going. I have a limited amount of tickets. First come, first serve. I'll tell you how to get those in a moment. But I'll also tell you the theater if you want to get tickets at that theater around the same time, so you can just go watch the movie, and we can talk about it later and hang out. Hopefully it's really good. I hope it's really good. I'm looking forward to it. Apparently, it got spoiled again that Toby and Andrew are going to be the worst kept secret in the world now, but it got spoiled again. Is anybody surprised? I listen, if they're not in it, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to F this movie if they're not in it, but they're in it. Come on. There's that. Another thing that's not in the title that I want to talk about is keeping your eye on the prize. This isn't just for content creators, but it could be for content creators. It can be for anybody who follows their favorite content creator who's about the cause. What's the cause? Common sense, freedom, liberty. Basic stuff like that. And what happens when like a channel abandons the cause? Now, sometimes there's good reasons. Sometimes the channel doesn't realize it. Sometimes you just get tired of it, and that's understandable. That's completely understandable, but we'll get into that. And why I'm not anywhere near close to abandoning the cause. I'll be the last one to leave this party probably. But first, let's see who's here. Yes, I had some really strong coffee. Yes, I did. In my Harry Potter mug, my Marauders map mug. All right. We got Bastard. I'm a bastard too. Just another red shirt. Both of them have their wrenches. Vigilante Williamson. What's up, VW? How's it going? Anonymous. I get what you did there with your name. Chris Healy. The Listening Fat. Radio Man 1017. Mark Santos. Megan Jerkak. Sorry. Oh, Drunk 3PO. Hey. 50,000 subscribers. I am so proud. Proud of my boy. Congratulations, Drunk 3PO. Shout out to Drunk 3PO for 50,000 subs. Here's to a million more, buddy. What's up, Andrew Brown, Kick 44? But now it's going too fast. I'm going to have to slow it down. Lord Thoth, what's up? Sir Gory, Derek McManus, Stetson's Gold, what's up? Let's go, Brandon, says SJ. I absolutely agree with that statement. I love how the left end is trying to take that back, which is just hilarious. Yes, we'll talk about The Matrix 4. Justin Mercado. We will talk about The Matrix 4. Because it's about taking the blue pill. It's about taking the blue pill. And no, not the boner pill. Oh my God. Gary said my name. Gonna fanboy out all day now. Dude, I am just a fucking idiot with a microphone. Seriously. Brian Hall. Welcome. Says first time here. What's up, Geek Tripology? Oh my God, Kevin. That's how you do $100 super chat. You are my favorite gay streamer. Yes. Kevin Hunts wins before the show even gets freaking started. Yeah. You know me, I'm all about the LGB representation. Let's go, Brandon. The R is here. Gary Hewitt, Mr. Ninja Bear, Cavalier 1645, Modalicious, Nixon, Paul Fountain, and we got Wesley Snipes, a member for 8 months, says, hey there, pilgrims. What's your favorite cheese? Pepper Jack. Yeah, he said gay streamer. That's hey, that's all right. You know what? Hey, it would have been awesome to be gay. 2 male incomes, the pink income, it's a real thing. It's just I'm not into dudes. I'm not. And apparently, I mean, I'm super straight, by the way, so the rules are always changing. Well, their rules are always changing. Mine aren't. But like hair and, oh, God. No. God, no. But that's okay. If you are, that's cool. It's just not my thing. It's like, I don't like to eat fish. I don't like seafood. Dirty Soul Monkey, what's up? And Dan Pfeiffer, and what's up, WG, for $50. To be fair, Gary is only 1 R away from gay. This is true. This is true. Thank you, WG. Yeah, why do you think like all the Garys are in all the movies are lame or gay? I mean, the ambiguously gay duo had Ace and Gary. What was it? Weird Science. Gary, you said you were combing your hair. Damn it, Mom. Yeah. Is seafood gay now? No. Well, I guess it's like fish tacos, although I like fish tacos. I don't like seafood, but I'll eat like battered fish, like fish and chips fish. So I guess not, and tuna. So there's two things I like, but I don't like shit cut out of the ocean with an animal that swims around in its own shit and eats its own shit and piss. I just don't. And I don't like crustaceans, which are just big fucking bugs. That's all they are. I know people love them. That's great. Not for me. No, thank you. And I grew up within 6 miles of an ocean pretty much my entire life. Don't like the seafood. Never did. But I like fish sticks and custard. There you go. That's Kevin Hunts for $100. Says that's exactly what a gay streamer would say. Oh, this is starting out. My expectations have been subverted. How this stream is starting out. Cheers, Kevin. Oh my goodness. Okay. So where do we begin? Don't want to. It's like Santa Inc. or Doctor Who. Both of them. God, just. Last night, after finishing, I wasn't riveted into every episode. I was drifting. I'd be watching it, and then all of a sudden, I'm going to go to Twitter, and I'd be listening to it a little bit. But the gist of Santa Inc. Is it's everything that Seth Rogen said it was going to be. Except it doesn't have a tad of feminism. It's all about feminism, and a Jewish elf wants to be Santa. Santa's a fake progressive dude, bro. It's got sex. It's got genitalia. It's naked old women, but they look like Gumby running around. And the thing is. And if I would have laughed once, I would tell you I never even came close to a chuckle. It was the unfunniest thing I've ever seen, and by the end of it, I just I didn't know I could cringe as much as I cringed. But it's everything wrong with Hollywood. They need to insert their politics in absolutely every conversation moment of their life. And, I've thought about this quite a bit. Like, why? These people should be the happiest motherfuckers in there. They get to pretend. They get to make up shit for a living. And they get paid obscene amounts of money for doing it. It takes talent. It's a talent I respect when you have it. But then there's the Sarah Silverman's, who probably get more gigs based on her politics than I know that's and her tits than her actual talent. Now, I don't know if Sarah Silverman's aware of that, but she probably is. But there are funnier women out there. Chrissy Mayer comes to mind. Whatever happened to Lisa Lampanelli? But there are funny women. She's just not one of them. She's the one who misidentified a construction marker for people spray painting bad swastikas on the sidewalk. We're dealing with we're not dealing with a Mensa here, okay? So she plays the titular character who is an elf that wants to be Santa Claus, and of course the patriarchy is always keeping her down and ignoring her. I mean, there was one concept that like could have been funny, the reindeers being on meth, and they managed to not make that funny, and that's like the lowest hanging fruit of all time. And the reindeers are basically the athletes. But what I figured it out about halfway through, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. I know what, okay, I got it now. The world, you know how people say the world is not Twitter? The world is not Hollywood. You know, there are businesses where nobody gets sexually harassed regularly, but they do in Hollywood. There are businesses that don't protect pedos, but they do in Hollywood. There are grateful people who are successful. They aren't in Hollywood. And the one thing Hollywood wants and needs so bad is for white supremacy and Nazis to exist. Well, they need to look no further than Australia and the camps there. And I guess they did it for a memorial, but it wasn't the best looking image in the world. The German soldiers marching with torches with their little Darth Vader hats on. Woo. Oh yeah. And we had a Fed march we'll talk about a little bit too. But no, Hollywood needs this boogeyman to exist, because if it doesn't exist, then all of their cries of "this is a white supremacist nation" would be wrong, which they are. And they can't be that wrong. It would crush them. They went all in over the last 4 years, and the hangover, now they're in the hangover stage of their 4-year bashing an orange man party. And if anybody thought this shit would stop without the orange man, you're crazy. And now they're realizing that they went way too far. People are sick to fucking death of it. And of course, Seth Rogen came out and said, "Oh, we pissed off all the white supremacists, tens of thousands of them. It's more like hundreds of thousands of them." Now, I don't have the extension, but the last time I checked, the downvoting on the trailer was well over 100,000. It's too bad we got rid of that dislike button. But one of the things this show is guilty of is running with gags like way too long, like the Santa Claus going down on Mrs. Santa Claus. It wasn't funny the first time, and they run like they go like 7 or 8 times. It's like, oh fuck, shut up. And I'm not a prude or anything. It's just when your movie makes Sausage Party look like fucking Shakespeare, that's how bad this is. And Sausage Party sucked. Team America is good. Team America is one of the greatest comedies ever created. Watch Team America, and that will show you exactly how you go there. Because South Park will make fun of both sides equally. This one was, even the dicks were woke in this one, which was hilarious. It's like, how do you do that? I don't know how you do that. But in this 8 episodes, they hit every freaking wacko, elitist, far left fucking talking point multiple times by the fucking 3rd episode. And man, they are hammered home by the end. You name it, it was talked about in this. But the main one that was sprinkled through was white supremacy and racism and the patriarchy. And as I said earlier, there's no such thing as feminist comedy. It's just called complaining. How does something like this get made? I think the woman who wrote Bridesmaids. I haven't seen it. I've never seen the movie, so I don't know if it was funny or not. But I think it was just on reputation. Seth Rogen, as a producer, he produces The Boys. He produced Preacher. So he's got a pretty good reputation there. As a comedian, I've never found him. I thought he was okay in 40-Year-Old Virgin. That was about it. It's the nicest thing I can say. And Sarah Silverman used to be anti-political correctness until she sold out. And there's nothing worse than a sellout comedian. Like, seriously, just do AT&T commercials or whatever you got to do. But yeah, there is one major outlet that did review this, and it was Variety. And it's interesting what Variety said, because I completely agree with their assessment, which was this was purely subversion for subversion's sake. And sure, you can make fun of Christmas. There's plenty of stuff to make fun of there, but like this one just felt like, I hate Christmas. I hate America. And here's everything I fucking hate. The world is not Hollywood. And these are people who should love it. Love the fact that they have the free expression, that they get paid obscene amounts of money, that they are basically middle-aged people who still go to fucking raves, like, and say it unironically. Oh, and she misused, oh my God, they misused the phrase grifter in it too, which was just the worst. Yeah, normal people, no, we're busy working, not going to raves at the age of 50, which would just be fucking embarrassing. It was bad enough. I was watching Daft Punk when I was in my 40s, and I just stood in the back. I wasn't going to sit there and get like these little glow hoops and fucking, I enjoyed it from the back. It was a good show. Daft Punk's great live, by the way, when they were still together. But yeah, it's Sarah Silver, and it's comedy from 2012. You remember 2012. Remember 2012 on Twitter. That's what James Gunn got in a lot of trouble for, 2012 humor on Twitter, when everybody was just trying to out-edge each other. And then, which would be fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the same people who are doing that. Just, oh man. I'm going to go on a rant about boomers in a moment, but like real ones. Not the one I'm called, but the real ones. But once they were done with it, they decided it wasn't okay anymore. So the same people who are running, like, doing blackface, Sarah Silverman, everything, just a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And now all of a sudden they can't do that stuff anymore, and you're wrong. I would argue you still can. You can still make the raunchiest jokes you want. I am all for it. America needs to, well, half of America needs to pull its collective stick out of its fucking ass, because it doesn't have a sense of humor. And this is comedy made for people who might have had a sense of humor, but they don't have one anymore. And it was just propaganda, and it was boring. Most of all, it was torture to get through. And I had just watched Doctor Who. This was worse than Doctor Who. This was worse than Star Trek Discovery. This is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. And like, I don't even know if I want to like do I feel like I watched it. I'll do a video review, but to break this thing down would require watching it again. That's going to be awfully hard. And I still have a Doctor Who review to do as well. Hope you caught our live stream yesterday. Az and I did a live stream. It's on Nerdrotic Live. You can watch it after this if you want. Bowles Trek joined us. It was good. The Holy Trinity of R.I.P. Doctor Who, or the Unholy Trinity. Watching that show fall apart. And I'll get into that in a second. But in all seriousness, this whole subversion thing, I think the only good thing I can possibly think of coming out of it, and it's going to come at a great cost, but Hollywood will subvert themselves right out of fucking business. You can only subvert so many things. And if you look at the true definition of subversion, it's to deconstruct, it's to destroy. Now, Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman, they're not Gentiles, are not going to destroy Christmas for anybody. I mean, they can try, and they're trying to troll, and that was part of the marketing, and that's the part that genuinely pisses me off. Is Hollywood and I've talked about this for years on this channel, Hollywood has been using like real divisiveness, like real hate to market. And yeah, it's okay to get, if they do shit that pisses you off, it's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to voice your opinion about it too. You don't want to let people steamroll you. There's certain times you got to choose your battles. There's certain times you walk away, certain times you fight. Now, when it's the machine, I say you fight as much as you can. When it's an individual, it depends. Depends on the individual. Like if somebody with an anime avatar and 21 followers on Twitter is coming at you, there's a mute and a block. I don't use it, but you can. That's not, I think that's kind of a waste of energy. But when it's the machine, when it's an industry coming at you, voice your opinion, because that's pretty much all you can do. And it's not going to do much. But if enough of us do it, then it has real power. But so Seth Rogen just willy-nilly pushing the white supremacist fucking narrative again to defend his shit fucking TV show. Fuck you, dude. I'm so fucking sick of that. I mean, that was in the trailer, and it's in the first 2 minutes. By the way, most of the trailer is from the first episode, first couple episodes. There's a Holocaust denier joke. Like, that's a thing. Like, people actually, I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of Middle East countries that probably still do, but nobody's doing it here. It's not this thing that happens, but they're trying to make it sound like it does. And that's about as authentic as that Patriot March just a couple days ago. I'm sorry, the Fed, I guess the Fed March. So that's the most annoying part about it. And that's the destructive part about it. And when we have idiots out there calling our movie criticism dangerous, when there's actual people spreading fear and division, trying to convince people that this is a white supremacist country, and there is a white supremacist movement, when you can probably count, I would say the real Nazis out there are in the thousands, and most of them are in prison. I'm sure some exist. I'm sure it's an insignificant number. I bet there's more trans people, a lot more than there is actual real life white supremacist Yahtzees. Hardcore. The kind they're talking about. All to defend a shitty fucking Christmas show that I wasted 4 hours of my life on. So I'm going to make sure that waste isn't actually a waste. So yeah, last night before I went to bed, I watched an episode of Venture Brothers just to cleanse the palate. And yeah, that's another great show. I was talking to Az and Bolstrek about that yesterday. They hadn't seen it. So I would highly recommend, with all the manga and anime recommendations we get, let me give you one. If you haven't seen Venture Brothers, one of the best shows ever created. Some of the best writing, most clever writing. It's funny as hell, and it's for nerds. It's difficult to describe, but it's basically a parody of Johnny Quest, a cartoon that probably most people haven't seen or don't remember, unless you're a part of my generation. And then it goes into a parody of comics, and everything is great. It is great stuff. It ended on a cliffhanger, but they are thankfully going to do a movie to wrap things up. So go Team Venture. That's right. One of the best shows ever created. And I reviewed the last season, which was years and years ago on this channel. So Santa Inc., don't waste your time. It deserves its 2 or 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. No actual critic has reviewed this outside of Variety, which tried to give it a fair review, but still ripped it and just said it was basic crap. They said it was subversion for subversion's sake. It just seems mean. And not that there's anything you can't make fun of with Christmas, but this one just fell flat. The only thing I disagree with, they were all, some very talented people were behind this. No, Talent, when it comes to Hollywood talent, most of it is just this reality is perception thing. You're as good as your last project. But, you know, like Ridley Scott's talented, although he's made some shit, but I would still think he's talented. Then there's one-hit wonders. Then there's Sarah Silverman and Seth Rogen, which they know the right people. They were connected to more talented people, and that's how they were able to keep their celeb around because, yeah, they're friends with much more talented people. And now Seth Rogen, I think his calling was to sell fucking pot. I think that's probably a good career choice for him. I would just argue that try to write your comedy when you're not high because you want sober laughs. It's easy to get the stoner laughs. Hello, chat. Hello, chat. But do not waste your time watching it at all. It's, and again, I don't care if something is crass. I don't care if something is raunchy. I laugh my ass off at that shit. I love the director's cut of Team America, dropping a Cleveland steamer on somebody's chest. A puppet is fucking hilarious. And I about pissed myself laughing when I was watching that. And the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie was Airplane and Team America. Like snot coming out, laughing my ass off. And I saw Airplane in the theater. Yeah, I'm that old. God, I want to be excited about Daredevil coming out. I really do. I really do. But considering what we've seen with all of our favorite franchises, I don't think that's a good idea right now, unless Marvel's going to just magically change their ways, which I just can't see because Marvel belongs to Disney, and Disney has an overall edict for all of their supposed autonomous subsidiaries, which still have to run under the umbrella of we are going to go in a certain direction, a very pro-socialist corporation, which doesn't make sense, but it does if you think about it. It does if you think about it. All right. First of all, again, Kevin Hunts, thank you for giving me a good laugh and $200, dude. Thank you. We've got Son of the Wolf. Hail, Gary. Officially engaged now. I'm going to ask you what my wife asked me when I asked her to marry me. Are you sure? Sorry, I missed the live stream yesterday. Was in a Bavarian village on vacation. Oh, well, good. Dude, enjoy the vacation. No need to apologize. All of my live streams. I don't delete my live streams. Sometimes, rare occasion, I'll make them members only, but if you really want access to it, I always make an audio version available on my website. Nothing to hide. I don't delete streams. Don't delete videos. So you can always watch them later. Go have your vacation and get married. And make some common sense babies. Assuming it's a straight marriage. I guess I shouldn't always assume, but I will anyway. Zach Zalek. Is there a new genre of action films emerging with films like Extraction, Boss Level, Nobody, John Wick, and Baby Driver? Keep up the great work. I was hoping so, and thank you. I was really hoping so, and you would think. I think there will be, because they're cheaper. I think superhero films are still sucking all the money and oxygen out of the room, but that's coming to a very quick end. I think superheroes will live on, and I think, honestly, if it was normal times, and Hollywood not being, and I don't know if they'll ever come back, but let's just say 10 years ago, I would say superhero storytelling should be serialized. It belongs on television in the shorter series. The days of the television series being 20 to 25 episodes are gone. It's too expensive. And I prefer the 10 to 15 episode season when it's well written, because you can get closer to characters. You can tell a more in-depth story with more emotional impact because you know your character. You spend more time with your character. It's not just 2 hours. But action films, like the 90-minute action film, the hour and 45-minute action film, I think could be the future because it's just cheaper. And those things are limitless. You can make action films out of anything. The 80s proved that. And it was kind of weird that the action film went away. Not completely, but it was such a money-making machine for the longest time. I hope so, because I like them. Scott Vakra for 20 British pounds. That is proper money. Says Terrence Dicks, Robert Holmes, Verite Lambert, Douglas Adams. Nothing from New Who comes close. Bought Blu-ray season 17, City of Death, Creature from the Pit, etc. Keep the faith alive. City of Death, that season where Douglas Adams was the script supervisor. Best of the best of Who. Best of the best of Who. I think the RTD era is as good as that. I won't say the Moffat era is. But for me, both of those are 1A and 1B. We got season 14 here with The Hand of Fear, The Deadly Assassin, The Face of Evil, The Talons of Wang Chang. Yeah, this one's a good one. And you can take this shitty... Oh, I guess it's stuck. There. At least the front. You can take the crappy logo off. Those are the special, like, UK editions. They're fucking expensive, man, and hard to get. Thank you. And I'm not going to argue with you on that. Douglas Adams is one of my favorite all-time writers, gone too soon. I can't believe that I'm older than Douglas Adams ever will be. He died when he was 51 on a treadmill, which, 20 years ago when he died, it feel like, 51. But now that you're at 51, you're like, oh, shit. Ooh. I don't feel that old. Maybe in the morning, but I don't feel that old. Oh, yeah. Doctor Who. Doctor effing Who. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of the episode because it was just crap. We're just going to talk about the post-mortem of a franchise. I'm going to do something a little different with my Doctor Who video because I think, I mean, honestly, the most damage was done in the penultimate episode, and this one was just garbage. But as I predicted, and many others, this was just mystery box crap. And what they did over the course of 6 episodes was introduce as many characters as possible, introduce as many elements as possible, shake the camera a lot with some quick editing to make it look like something was happening when nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know how this was resolved? Spoiler warning. Time itself came down and took out Swarm and Azure, put the Doctor back together, and gave an ominous warning of the Master's coming and you're going to die soon. And then they just ended it. The universe is still destroyed. Like Earth is the only planet left. I don't even know if it has a sun because the flux was destroying suns. They didn't talk about it. All the other characters, they killed a couple. They put a couple back. Dan's one-armed girlfriend was just magically amazing in the last episode, and she gave tours at a Liverpool museum, but she was able to figure out like 30th century technology of the gods. At the end, it was the most contrived shit I've ever seen. It was low effort. It was terrible, and nothing surprises me anymore. I'm on Twitter last night and people going, that was the most well together, put together show. I loved every minute of it. And I'm just like, Okay. It explains a lot with what's wrong with the world. But at least even fans of Jodie were like, nope, that sucked. That was terrible. They introduced characters for no reason. The Grand Serpent ended up being a big nothing. Belle and Vinder's relationship, everybody thought, I was even thinking, man, that's probably going to be the Doctor's parents because she was pregnant. No, they were just there. They were there to fill a quota. That's all. They were introducing cast members to. They had a lady with one arm. They had an interracial couple. It was all there, except for Captain Jack, who was written out. Who was written out of the story. They brought in Kate Stewart, who is an okay character, but nothing to get excited about. And Yaz and the Doctor looked like they wanted to scissor each other, but they didn't. And we just got confirmation that the Timeless Child is true. The Doctor is no longer from Gallifrey and was originally a black girl in this universe. I don't buy any of this as canon. Fuck this shit as canon. And they gay baited everybody, by the way. And Tech Tayun, they brought her back just to like unceremoniously just kill her for no reason. Oh, by the way, Swarm and Azure were these big villains. Why? They never told us. It's part of a Doctor's past. They brought in the Fob Watch. Didn't fucking answer a single fucking question with it. Teased it for later. And we're almost done. Only 2 episodes to go with the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. And this failed experiment can finally end when anybody with a fucking brain would have ended this a year ago, but this is why you do not make ideological decisions with your billion-dollar franchise, because then it will become $1 million franchise. Then it will become $1,000 franchise. Then it will just be nothing. Dust in the wind. That's what Doctor Who is. There is nothing for RTD to fix. He can do it very easily. He would have to put up with some criticism, but I highly doubt that any criticism of Russell T Davies would stick. It's really up to how tough he is. Sony, by the way, is technically in charge of Doctor Who now, creatively, because they bought Bad Wolf. Now, Russell T Davies is going to call the shots, but Sony owns Bad Wolf now. Very simple. You wipe it all out over the last 3 years. Just wipe it all out. Start from Capaldi. It's that simple. Most of the fan base would love it. Most of the normies would come back. You wouldn't get everybody back. The guy said it on the stream yesterday. At best, 80% of your fan base will come back. And I would say that's your fan base. That's not the normies. And I would say 20 to 30% of the normies are going to come back. You're never going to, you won't get 50% of the normies. You won't get 40%. At best, you'll get 30% of the normie audience that you used to have here in the States. Because let's face it, most of the Doctor Who fandom from 10 years ago is new Who, normie Whovians. Now, a lot of fans did get into classic Who afterwards. It was a great gateway for it. And I would say the vast majority of what's left of the American fandom probably agrees with me on this one, that it should stay British. No American influence. Not that the British influence is great, but either way, it's in a bad way. And I just don't think you come back from this, no matter what you do. No matter they could do everything we want them to do, but we still saw this. It still happened, and it didn't need to happen, but they stuck with it way too long. And that's what we were trying to tell you. It's like, dude, stop this. It's like trying to tell your friend not to date the psycho. He just won't see it. She loves me, man. No. She's crazy. She slept with your brother. She's watching you sleep. You might not want to marry this one. Okay. But they went ahead and they went full political, full ideological, and now the show's motherfucking dead. So the Flux ended up being a big waste of fucking time, like we knew it would. We got a special on New Year's Eve, and then we wait, till fall? No, till next New Year's Eve. So this will be the last episode, this upcoming one, for a year. Then Jodie regenerates. I figure we'll find out who the new Doctor is by June at the latest. And everything depends on that. But it's hanging on by a thread. It's hanging on by a thread. And as we said in the live stream yesterday, if they pick another female Doctor, I'm out. Bye. Don't care who does it. Because most normies do not know who Russell T. Davies is. Not a clue. Oh, I just lost that one. So I'll just go find it over here. You're the Brock Sampson of YouTube. Fight the good fight, says the Donut King for $5. Thank you. I take that as the highest compliment. And Scott Vakra for 20 British pounds says, I read this one. Okay, good. Quantum Ranger Power for $5 says, teaser for Spider-Verse 2. Gwen asks if Spider-Man was grounded. And my first thought was Peter, even though she said it to Miles and about Miles. Yeah. I mean, Miles Morales is known as Miles Morales. If that bothers people, tough shit. That's just reality. That is just reality. And stop trying to subvert. You know, when they brought Miles in, I was fine with it. It was the Ultimate Universe, didn't care. And at the time, Bill Jemas, that was his name, and Joe Quesada, and they were saying over and over again, we will never, ever bring the Ultimate Universe into the 616. They are forever separate. Now, I never truly believed that, but they stuck to it for a long time. My belief is the Marvel Universe, the Marvel 616 died during the third Secret Wars, where they brought in Miles Morales into the 616. But even if they did that, I'm like, okay, give Peter Parker a sidekick. We've already put him in the Avengers. We've already done a bunch of stuff we haven't done with Spider-Man. How about a sidekick? Give him a different name, let him mentor, and that could be interesting. That could be good for a long, long time. Nope. No, there are multiple reasons, right? All right. Hang on, I got to close a window because something jumped. There we go. I do believe there is some truth to what they make these derivative characters to avoid rights, but I don't think that's the sole motivation. I think they make derivative characters to sell more books. I think that is their motivation. So the responses on Twitter, I only saw a couple of them, but some were like, well, then who's your Captain America? Well, fucking Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is Captain America. There is only one motherfucking Captain America, and his name is Steve Rogers. And then they started going, well, who's your Flash and who's your Green Lantern? And I'm all, okay, so I'll respond to it here. Flash and Green Lantern are not in the same league as Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the single most valuable superhero on the planet. More than Batman, more than Superman, more than anybody else. Spider-Man is the most valuable superhero on the planet. He's Peter Parker. You kill him, you make him Miles Morales, he will no longer be the most valuable superhero on the planet. He's an established character. Make a fucking new character. And not like Spider-Gwen has always been lame, will always be lame. But I liked, I like Spider-Man 2099. Love Spider-Man 2099. I thought that was cool. That's kind of like the Batman Beyond Spider-Man. or vice versa, whatever way you want to look at it. And again, you know, I didn't have a problem with Miles at first. It's what they've done with them since then. But as far as like who's my Green Lantern, Hal Jordan or Kyle Rayner, either one is fine with me, or Jon Stewart. I would say if I had to pick one, it'd be Hal Jordan. But that's something you've established you can like pass down as a mantle, although it's still derivative characters. As far as Flash is concerned, well, I was a Wally West guy. But it could be Barry Allen to some people. That's fine. It's not in the same league. Plus, there had already been previous Flashes, so it's been established. But Miles Morales is a tokenized version of the character. It could be successful. A lot of people like it. I like the costume design. Thought it was pretty cool. Thought it was fine. I wish they would have just given him a different name. Kate Bishop is known as Kate Bishop. Now, I'm not, Clint Barton's always going to be Hawkeye to me. But he's not in the same league as Spider-Man as well. You could attempt to pass the mantle with them, just like you've attempted to do with Green Arrow. But it never fully takes with most characters. And you want to know why? Because you're competing against a generation who's read these comics for decades. They've been established for decades. And now you're just throwing derivative character over. It's just a mess. Now it's a mess. And comics are a mess. But I mean, I don't like the character of Kate Bishop. I think it's a lazy fucking character. And she shoots arrows in a tracksuit and yoga pants. I mean, that's fucking low effort shit. At least when they brought her in to the Young Avengers, she had a costume on. Chris Chibnall gives $5, says, love, pride, hate, fear. I can't write emotions, sir. I don't know why Wisconsin is calling me. Look at Me Too. It started in Hollywood, then infected the rest of America because of the narrative that everyone else is just like them. Shark Dentures for $5. You're absolutely correct. Hollywood is not the world. One of the things Santa Inc. displays is the desperation of climbing the ladder in Hollywood. Assistants being sycophants. Not having reverence for people's work. Just it's a weird mixture of it's envious and reverence. Like they have a respect for what they did, but they're still jealous. It's hard to explain, but I worked in Hollywood. And there's just this insincerity about the town, just this general insincerity. Like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people will overpraise somebody or you, or be way too nice to where you're like, they're being awfully nice to me right now. Why? You know, and it's like, what do you want? It's a town filled with a bunch of what do you wants, and they actually want something. Strategic friendships. It's not a fun place to work. It's not a great work environment. And that's why I bailed. Because it was just filled with, like, to be successful in Hollywood, you need to be perfectly okay with plunging a knife into your best friend's back. You just, that has to be, that, and it's just accepted as part of the business. And I'm like, I'm not okay with that. My first experience there, I've told this story before. I was chaptering for iTunes, like basic bitch, bottom of the barrel job. Was happy to get it. Was an extra income while I was running the comic shop. So I was working for Ascent Media as a contractor, and I worked from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. going over movies and breaking them into chapters. either titling the chapter or just calling it Chapter 1, Chapter 2 for the little movies that you watched on iTunes on your iPod at the time. Well, there's a guy who ran the day shift. The guy who ran the day shift was convinced that I wanted his job, the day shift job. Although when I went there, I specifically asked for a nighttime job. I'm like, I actually work better at night. I can do both, but like I work better at night. So they and I knew that's what will get me in the door because nobody wants the fucking night shift. So I'll do the jobs nobody wants, so it gets me in the door. But I didn't want the daytime job because the night crew was cool. It was like 5 of us in the building by ourselves. We got to work, and when we were done with our work, we ran to fucking like CVS and bought like little remote control helicopters and flew them around the fucking building and fucked off all the time. It was pretty fun. But the daytime guy was convinced I wanted his job. So you know what he did? By the way, for this job, I was getting paid $20 an hour. Now, this was a temporary job while I was waiting for another job that was going to be much better paid. So he sabotaged my work. He came in the next day and fucked up all my chapters. And at first, I thought I was going crazy. Because like the boss would call me in, and I'm like, there's no way I did that. Like, just, I make mistakes. I fuck up. But it was like a regular thing. Like, the first time I thought it was my fault and I fixed it. I knew whatever thing. And then it happened again. I'm like, no. There's something going on here. There's something going on. Didn't know what was going on. Found out after like a month that this fucker was going in and fucking with my shit for a $20. It's like, dude, that's Hollywood. Motherfucker will go and sabotage your work for a $20 a fucking hour job. Punk ass bitch. And the guy, probably wonders to this day why he's not successful. I was glad to be out of there because I wanted to kick his ass. I really did. And that's the thing is you can't. Modalicious for $2. They claimed comments were disabled for anti-Semitism. Of course, it's not anti-Semitic to make the observation that 2 non-Gentiles are making a Christmas show, basically shitting all over Christmas. And it's not like there isn't a funny story there. There's a funny story everywhere. You just question the motivation. But it's more than shitting on Christmas. This wasn't about shitting on Christmas. And it's not about their religion. Because I don't really care about that. It's about shitting on America and having that built-in excuse and using it. So think about that. Were there probably a couple of anti-Semitic comments? Probably. But is it anti-Semitic to just point out an observation? I don't know. I don't really care. But the show was bad. The show was bad because people made it who have no talent. The thing we're missing in Hollywood is POT, people of talent. Oops. Bring down that light. There we go. But yeah, the comments were removed from the video. And this thing will be forgotten. By the way, it's open for a season 2. They left it wide open for a season 2, which just, I went, oh my fucking God. Classic Comics for $5. Totally agree on shellfish crustaceans, Gary. They're bottom feeders who live on a diet of carrion and filth. Don't understand why so many people eat them. I don't either. It's disgusting. And thank you. One man can make a difference, Mr. Knight, for $4.49. All hail, Gary, my angry, hairy ball of Nerdrotic. This is my first super chat, so Be gentle, dude. I'll be gentle. I'll be gentle. Gary, I'm gay. You're not, but we're both fabulous. I'm super. Thank you for the 5 British pounds. I'm super. Thanks for asking. Crimson Death Pepper for $4.99. Hail, Gary. Hail to you. Samurai Zenji for $10 says LGBT. Let's go, Brandon team. Let's go, Brandon. Russell Hall for $2 says, I thought Drunk 3PO was your favorite gay streamer. No, he's my favorite gay streamer, not Kevin's. Obviously, I am Kevin's favorite gay streamer, and I should almost make a shirt on that. Stetson's Gold. Am now set with new cam and mic. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. Get a good mic. You don't need a great cam. Stetson's Gold. I got a Logitech Brio. You can find it on my Amazon Nerdrotic page. It's like $200. It shoots in 4K. It's good as long as you have good lighting. Because you need to have good lighting with a good camera. And I'm moving my light. All right. Son of a bitch. And you can see the little reflection right there. But good lighting helps, but I would put money into a microphone. And then when you do the microphone, you get on that thing like you're about to suck a dick, okay? You get right onto that thing. You don't like talk like back here. And soundproof. Get a carpet or something to soundproof. Oh, okay, so let's talk about the meetup real quick, and then we'll get back into Doctor Who and all that good stuff, and then we're going to talk about the cause. The cause. I was inspired by watching a video. By the way, I'm not going to be specific about channels or anything. I was watching a video of a channel I subscribe to and have subscribed to for years. In that video, they were somewhat critical of channels like mine and probably mine, considering I don't know how many channels in our sphere outside of Az have made Hawkeye videos. And I was very critical of Hawkeye, although I did say I like some stuff. And they brought something up. It's valid criticism that I'll listen to, but I've got a response because I think it's an important response. It's not about the YouTuber at all, and it's not about what they brought up. It just inspired another thought. That's all. All right, so real quick, let's go to the meetup. Let's go to the meetup, which will be Thursday, December 16th, AMC Mission Valley, 4:30 show. I will be seeing Spider-Man No Way Home. I bought a row of tickets. I tried to buy out the theater, couldn't do it. They wouldn't let me. So I bought a row, and that's what I've got. I think the number is, I think Mrs. Nerdrotic was going to tell me what the number was. Hey, you found your book. Oh, awesome. My son was looking for, he got Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1. He lost it and he found it. So here we go. What is the number? Okay, she did. So I don't know what the number is, but it's somewhere around 16 to 18 tickets. Okay. They will be free of charge. It is just first come, first serve, and I'll tell you where you can get those in just a second. But first, let me show you the flyer. Was that? That's not the one I was good. There we go. Made by John Cocozo, who has been helping me out with this. So the meetup will be at the Lamplighter Karaoke Bar, 817 West Washington Street, San Diego, California, 92103. It starts at 7:30 p.m. on 12/16. So y'all can go watch the movie. If you can't watch it at AMC, go watch it before that. but it's AMC, not the AMC, AMC Mission Valley 20, San Diego, 4:30 p.m. standard screening. I'm not going to IMAXs or anything. It says order your own tickets, but I have a few that are available. First come, first serve. One per person. So you can't come in an email and go, I got 5 friends coming. No, one per person. You can have your friend let me know. But it's one per person. So that's the movie meetup. And maybe when I'm a bigger YouTuber or whatever, or if I figure, well, this is the biggest movie opening this year. I'm not going to get a theater, but if I plan ahead, we can do, you can rent out theaters for meetups. You just can't do it for opening weekend. So I definitely will do one. I can't believe that Fellowship of the Rings isn't coming back to theaters for its 20th anniversary. Hopefully that does happen. If that happens, then we'll talk. By the way, I don't want to mix up too many announcements. I have another announcement, but we'll do it later. So there it is. Make a note of it. I'll tweet this up too. It'll go in the community section. 7:30 p.m. at the Lamplighter Karaoke Bar, 817 West Washington Street, San Diego, California, 92103, after we see Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, so one per person, email me at gary@nerdrotic.com and just say Spider-Man No Way Home RSVP. Now, I'll have all the tickets. You'll meet me at the theater. I'll be at the theater like at around 4. They're reserved tickets, so we're good. We don't have to rush or anything. If you RSVP and can't make it, please let me know. But Gary@nerdrotic.com. And if you don't get a ticket, I'm sorry. But if you do get a ticket, I'll let you know. If I don't let you know, then you didn't get a ticket. Okay. All right. And I'm sorry. I wish I could get everybody tickets. I tried. I did. But you can at least come to the meetup. We're going to have some food there of some kind and prizes, including these. I'm going to be giving out these. Amongst other stuff. Some swag. I think I've got some giveaways that we didn't give away last time that I can, like 4K version of the Snyder Cut. We've got an Arrow version of Flash Gordon. These are all movies I got doubles of for some reason. A Blu-ray version of Nightbreed. Oh, and 4K Lord of the Rings. That's right. So those are some other prizes. We'll do a drawing and everything. Okay, cool, awesome, great. Please make a note of it. See ya on the 16th. Hopefully the movie's great. Hopefully it's great. I think when I was going over the Doctor Who stuff yesterday, I did notice that the tweets had a really small number of likes for a major television program and a franchise that's been around for 50 plus years. I think the highest number of likes I saw on a tweet praising Flux was 1,000. And it's just sad because it used to get tens of thousands of likes when you were talking about Doctor Who. Not that Twitter's the best gauge anymore. I just don't think it is. I don't get too excited over it. I'm surprised I have as many followers as I do on Twitter. Because I'll go days without being on it. But with Doctor Who, I got angry with the 5th episode. The last one, it wasn't even exasperation. It was just, if so many of us knew this was going to happen, and you really got to think that we are dealing with a lot of people who believe this way, by the way, that their ideology blinds them so fucking much. It blinds them to basic realities, like basic common sense. A child should know this. By the middle of season 12 with Doctor Who, it was a failed experiment, and they should have been thinking right there and then, wow, we need to unfuck this. Nope. They doubled down. They tripled down. What did they think? People were just going to come around to their... I mean, it was clearly unpopular, even amongst people who were backing it at first. And I guess it's a business thing, but this is a 20th century model. I hate to use a sports analogy, but it's like going with a coach way too long, who's clearly a fucking loser, but the owner's too cheap to get rid of him because he doesn't want to pay the guy for not coaching. But you're going to suck for 3 years, and you're telling all your fans you're going to suck for 3 years, and just to suck it up and sit through it. Well, it doesn't work that way with TV shows. And the BBC, I think, has just gotten too used to Doctor Who, and we are now in a place where there is as much bad Doctor Who as there was good for this series. Some might argue more. And we will be there in a couple episodes. Because let's be honest. For me, I can find enjoyment in almost every single episode through season 6. Season 7 is okay. Season 8 is okay. But there's stinkers in both of those seasons. And I can't really stomach much anything beyond that, not even season 9. But we're getting to where, you know, you can't match what RTD did. Again, aside from a couple of episodes, which is Fear Her and Love and Monsters. I could watch every fucking Tennant Eccleston episode. Rediscover great ones like Midnight. I was talking about it with Mahler, watched it again. Turn Left. I fucking love Turn Left. I mean, there's just, God. After that live stream, I went in my projection room and for the first time watched Doctor Who on like just giant screen. Well, it's a projector. I have a projector. I broke out my Blu-rays and watched it and just had a fucking, I stayed up till 4 a.m. I watched like 7 or 8 episodes. It was fucking great. It was great. And I needed it. And that was after watching like Daredevil season 1. So after watching Daredevil season 1 and a mix of some of Doctor Who's best episodes, I saw, wow, this isn't something I'm just saying. Like, right, art is in a very bad place right now. And we know why. It's a very explainable mystery. I guess I wouldn't make it a mystery. Problem. Easily mended, but not so easily mended because we have a lot of Kool-Aid drinkers out there who are ruining their careers. I have no fucking sympathy for them whatsoever. None. Gary, I think Daredevil season 2 was a better Punisher than the season 1 of Punisher and 2. Punisher was more true to the character in Daredevil season 2, says Cornelius Brunis, and for $10. I agree. I thought Punisher season 1 is okay. It was okay. I think at the time I probably really liked it, but I never watched it again. I didn't even finish Punisher season 2. I got 3 episodes in and went, fuck this. They're doing the same shit. The girl is the key to everything. And that was in early days. So I never watched it. I never finished it. I did finish Iron Fist season 2, which was one of the first examples of bait and switch I saw. And it was straight up. Iron Fist gave his powers to fucking Colleen Wing at the end, saying, you're more worthy than me. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Little did I know that they would do it with characters like Loki and Hawkeye. But You're absolutely correct. The Punisher was much better in Daredevil season 1 and 2. Sorry, something was falling over there, but he's correct. Just some cash for your move. Thank you, Stone Dog 1971, for the $10. I appreciate that. And yes, I'm going to have to finally do like a proper room tour. It's going to go on Nerdrotic Live because the minute it's done, I'm going to start packing this stuff up. And we're going to start with the island of misfit toys here in the middle. That island of misfit toys is the first shit that's going. Samuel L. Smacksum for $9.99. Why hasn't anybody brought up the movie Call Me Claus with Whoopi Goldberg as the new Santa, or Noelle about the new female Santa? Because I've never heard of either of them. Because it's not this one. The female Santa thing. That's not what I have a problem with. By the way, female Santas are fucking stupid. It's as fucking stupid as a female Doctor Who. It's, you know what? It's in the canon. Well, okay, you can make Spider-Man a girl. Doctor Strange can fuck up a spell and turn Spider-Man into a girl. You can always put shit in canon. Doesn't make it right. And just because the comics did it first doesn't make it right either. Shit can be stupid in the source material. Are you concerned about Amazon's? But I would say I Call Me Claus and Noella. I don't think I've heard of either of those movies. Are you concerned about Amazon screwing up Lord of the Rings in the way they just wrecked Wheel of Time? Ryan asked for €5. Very, very. If you're new to the channel, I've done about 4 videos on Lord of the Rings and my concerns. They're in a playlist on my channel. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see them. I make 1 or 2 videos a week. It'll go up to 3 now that I have help. I haven't made, it was timing. I could still make this video on the Tolkien Society, but I've got the audio clips. I've got them saved. I'm waiting for the trailer. That's going to be my next Lord of the Rings video where I voice my concerns. But if you want to hear them, they're already on my videos, and I've pretty much covered it. What I've heard since then, and I'll repeat here, is there is going to be LGBTQ plus representation in Lord of the Rings. Something we know Tolkien wouldn't have been down with. You might be down with it as a viewer. I am of the belief this might be considered a very radical thought, and I'll be called all kinds of names, but I don't think LGBTQ plus representation needs to be in everything. Just as I think, you know what? You can make a movie without straight people at all. You can make a movie without white people. I don't give a shit. But not everything needs to be in everything. Let some stories be the stories they are. And then you, as an individual human, can find a way to identify with a hobbit or a fucking elf and relate to them on a human level as an individual with different traits. I know. I like to think human beings are much more complex creatures than having one trait be their entire identity. Call me crazy. Help Mahler. Is Mahler in the chat? Why does it? Hang on. Did somebody tell me? I've got so many messages coming in. I'm sorry. There's Quarter Black. Oh, I can't read that right now. That's for sure. Sorry. My bad. All right. That's why I don't check messages. I get distracted. Oh, where is I? Help Mahler. Does Mahler need help? I'll help Mahler with anything. Speaking of Mahler, and speaking of Lord of the Rings, save the date, 12/19, 11 a.m. Pacific time, Lord of the Rings 20th anniversary stream with Mahler, the Critical Drinker, Chris Gore, Just Some Guy, yours truly, and others. That's a murderer's fucking row right there, yo. And we're just going to gush over one of the greatest films of all time, The Fellowship of the Ring. Probably talk about the trilogy overall, I imagine. But yes, and I'm going to try to do a watch party, but you will have homework, of course, before the stream. I require you to watch Lord of the Rings. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're going to have to watch the greatest trilogy ever fucking made. And believe me, I love when I put that up and people are like, people who follow me and they're just giving me a hard time and it's fine. They're like, yeah, if I want to cure for narcolepsy or for insomnia, I'll watch Lord of the Rings. Funny. Yeah. I'm sorry you can't experience the joy of the greatest trilogy ever made. Better than Star Wars. Better than fucking everything. It's better than everything. There was something on Twitter. It was who would win, Dumbledore, Yoda, or Gandalf. Gandalf. All day, every day. He is basically an angel sent down and created by a god. Not a human wizard. By the way, he survived his fall. All respect to Dumbledore. I like Dumbledore. I like Yoda. Although Yoda ran like a little bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I like Yoda. But Gandalf wouldn't even be fucking close. I'd say the better one is like Dumbledore and Yoda. Okay, that's a better, more evenly matched square off there, and then you can go. Both past their prime. Both made mistakes in the past. Both are vulnerable. They're a lot alike, those two. Max Von Priestley says, "Hail, Gary. Great hanging with you at San Diego Comic-Con. Looking forward to the next one. Hey, I've got a comic for you. Max Von Priestley, by the way, check out his channel. He does comic stuff. He is ex-Marine. Semper Fi. And the chicks dig him. Sir Shy 87 for $2. Star Trek Discovery Episode 3 was pure comedy. Yeah, okay. My apologies. I am way behind on that. I have planned to be caught up this Thursday. I'm just going to review the last 3 episodes on Thursday. Okay, and then we'll do weekly after that. I couldn't do Doctor Who and Star Trek Discovery at the same time. I just couldn't. I'll be on the road Thursday, so I'll be doing my review from a hotel room. I have to return to San Francisco. I've been putting this off for so long, but I got to go back up. So I plan to drive by Twitter and flip it off. Maybe Patreon too. That's the only thing I want to do. I've got to take care of business there, and then I'm going to drive by Patreon and take a picture of me flipping them off, and Twitter. Maybe Google too. I know where YouTube is. I can flip them off too. Hail everyone. Hail Gary. Bring me back, Gary. I'm ready to talk Doctor Who. And what the heck did I just watch? The Good, the Bad, and the Chibnall, as the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Maybe we'll do a Fury of the Whovians. We'll bring you and Dan from Spacebook. I know you guys tried. See, that's the wonderful thing. And like, hey, do your podcast the way you want to do your podcast, and whatever works for you guys works for you guys. But I'll just say for me, I don't want to interview celebs. I don't want to interview creatives. Don't care. I want to be free of all of that so I can just say whatever the fuck I want. Hey, talking shit about Seth Rogen. A good friend of mine does business with Seth Rogen. It's not going to stop me from talking shit about Seth fucking Rogen. Who's a fucking punk. And pushing false narratives. And it's dangerous. It truly is dangerous. And all of these, it's a cumulative effect. We've talked about that. Enough people go, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Behind every corner, there's a white supremacist. Look at those white supremacists. Look at the tiki torches. Oh, man, thank God January 6th came around because it finally shut them up about South Carolina when 20 guys with tiki torches did something. I can't even remember. Never mind all, the burning businesses in multiple cities over the summer. January 6th. But yeah, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. And then there's blood on the streets. Because the authoritative sources have been telling us that this thing exists that doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. You might not like the system. The system is most definitely unfair. Life is unfair. And you can black pill all you want. Just tear everything down. Okay, what's your solution? But that's all Hollywood has been is bitch, 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 moan when they are some of the most fortunate fucking people alive. You want to talk about privileged. And good for them. They fucking earned it. But dude, act like you're grateful once in a while. Let's go. Will you cover the new season of The Expanse? Says Joan of Arc, 3-3 for $19.99. I'll have to. I think I have to. In some way, shape, or form. I don't know if I'll probably do like quick 30-minute reviews on Nerdrotic Live when I can. But it will be weekly just to finish up. I thought last season was terrible. I thought the first 2 episodes started out gangbusters, and then it just went terrible. I am currently reading Leviathan Falls, the 9th and final book of The Expanse. I have been completely turned off by the 2 writers, Ty Frank and Dan Abrams, who are James S.A. Corey, because whoever runs their Twitter account is a complete fuckhead who treats customers like shit. So I'm reading it out of obligation. I thought the Expanse books were great, fucking great, until book 6. Then they went way down. So I'm reading it out of obligation, but I recommended the series to so many people, and I am ready to retract it. We'll see how they finish the season. We'll see if they remember that Holden is their main character, and hopefully we won't watch Naomi trying to catch her breath for 4 fucking episodes. Now, one of the main characters got Me Too'd. That's probably what that derailed the show, which is too bad. And the death scene was terrible. And I don't know what happened to that guy. I think his career's over. I think he was just being a Hollywood actor and a player, and he was just picking up on girls. And, I heard a lot of conjecture, no facts, nothing in court. So I don't know. I'm just this idiot who, if I don't see anything, if I don't see any proper evidence, then I'm just going to assume he's innocent, because Me Too Time's Up started out legitimately, absolutely legitimate. Women were and are still abused, misused in Hollywood for a lot of reasons. There is genuine abuse of power. Then there is manipulation and opportunism. There is the false accusations, all of it. All of it. You know what's funny? You know the one thing we didn't hear out of all the Me Too revelations? You know what we didn't hear? Anything about that pedo problem in Hollywood. Not a fucking word. Heard about all the women who were misused, and we heard some fucking horror stories, and some of them turned out to be true. What about the darker shit? Well, maybe we'll find out in this trial. Who just up and quit? Why am I blanking on this? I read it last night. I know Jack Dorsey up and quit. God, somebody from a show up and quit. I can't remember who it is now. I'll remember later. Bryan Singer. Yeah, Bryan Singer for sure. Bryan. Yeah, Open Secret. The CIA got busted. Crowder reported on this today. It's been out there for 4 days, and this isn't like conjecture, and this isn't rumor. This is fucking fact. CIA agents were busted with the bad stuff about kids, and they weren't arrested. They were just let go. Yeah. Watch today's Crowder. They go over it. And then a guy from PS5, Yellow Flash did a video on him. Whoa, can't remember his name. But a guy who worked with the PlayStation Network got busted going after a 15-year-old. Nobody in games media is reporting it on it at all. Yellow Flash rightly called them all fucking out, and they're all frauds. They're all fucking frauds. And you know what? I'll go as far as they're probably very sympathetic to the whole map situation. Wouldn't be surprised if they're secretly sympathetic to that, because I don't see them calling it out. And wow, you think they would report on, it's not like there's a bunch of games news all the time, and this is pretty big. I think it's bigger than the Five Nights at Freddy's guy being a Trump supporter. Just saying. But we've all known that. What got lost in Gamergate was the consumer movement part of it. It fractured. It had, Gamergate was kind of a proving ground, right, for consumer movements, and it's also was one of the left's first attempt to make blanket generalizations about a consumer movement, because there was some bad actors in Gamergate. There were, absolutely, a lot of them. There's some good ones too. Some damn good ones, like Dave Cullen. But, and then there are some people who really weren't that involved, who thought they created it or were responsible for it. Oh, that's hilarious. That's a claim I will never make. I had nothing to do with the origins of any hashtag that people might have used in the last couple of years as it refers to Star Wars. Nothing at all. I was when that thing started, I was just in the chats in the live streams with y'all. Same for the other movement. And what I've learned is don't name your movement. Don't give it a hashtag. Don't do anything. I tried for the longest time to say, hey, the Phantom Menace is only a hashtag. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's all it ever was to me. It's not an organization. It doesn't have rules. It's not anything you can be canceled from, because we're not an organization. So, for example, if somebody for some reason says, like, I'm responsible for them getting canceled, but they've never worked for me, they don't work for Nerdrotic, they don't live stream with Nerdrotic, they don't talk to me, then I can't cancel you. I have no power at all. You are the power. The Omicron variant came from Futurama, ruler of the planet Omicron, Persia 8, says Darth Dabs. Futurama. 94 EJack, thank you for the 99-cent donation. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Back on the donation side. Hang on. I got to refresh this. $5 says, Merry Christmas. Captain Spire, by the way. What's up, Captain Spire? I know this is a radical comment, but Jewish folks can be just as snarky, angry, evil, misled, misguided, conniving, bitter, lost, and stupid as any of you Gentiles. We're not exonerate from being human, but we all do have an advocate. Yes. Just like me. I could be wrong. I try very hard, not anymore, to be any of the worst parts of that, but we're all human. Yes. Nobody is on a pedestal. There is no protected religion, race. And once we get to a point where we can all genuinely laugh at each other like a good roast, and that's when we know we are healthy as a society. When we don't give the words power. We got a long ways to go. Because right now we are in this weird post-truth era where the mainstream media, big tech, the White House, the EU are just regularly running with bullshit. And when that gets questioned, well, then you're an anti-vaxxer, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. When we're in a time where we should be asking the most questions possible. That's all. God, it's bugging me. Who up and quit? It was I know Chris Cuomo got fired. Southeastern Kaiju for $2. Shall we talk about the lack of curiosity in all history, real and pop culture? I think that's at the heart of the current overriding of shared stories. I don't think it's just mere chance. Gibbs Rule 39, NCIS reference. Lack of curiosity. I agree with you, South. But that's on a big general level. I think there is a lack of curiosity and a propensity to accept things at face value right now. That is the pandemic. Well, Disney said, the president said, a scientist said. Oh, okay, all right. If Doctor Who was canceled again for a second time, do you think it would be revived for a third time in the future or stay dead? Says Sky Blue Rob 88 for 663. I think it would be revived in 10 years. Whether it be successful, I don't think it can be with this canon. They would have to do a hard reboot, which would be very difficult, which could be even worse. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, I wish I was kidding. They poisoned this franchise. The Timeless Children is the virus of this franchise. It kills it. It's a canon virus. It goes right back to the origins of the show and just deconstructs all of it. It's got to go, or I think it's dead forever. Now, there'll always be books, there'll always be comics, there'll always be audio dramas, there'll be this or that, but it will never, and listen, everything has its time. And Doctor Who had a lot more time than anybody thought it would, but it didn't need to, it was going good. They fucked themselves on this one. Enochmamon for $5. Doctor Who, the hell cares? Gene Shalit, probably. Right. Nixon for $20 says, Gary, you caused quite the spat on Twitter with your Miles Morales hot take. I realized they're right, though. Miles is Spider-Man. He has to be, because if he isn't, no one would care who he is. I'm not saying he's not a Spider-Man. I'm just saying that the perception, what's your first thought when you see him? Is it Spider-Man or is it Miles Morales? It's Miles Morales. It's Miles Morales. You like how I did that, Nixon, though? And you see how I didn't, I let people just have their say, and they start going off on these, well, what about Captain America? Well, what about Green Lantern and Flash and Ghost Rider? Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider. Danny Ketch, he's Ghost Rider too. I'm okay. But I prefer Johnny Blaze. Anything after that? No. Nah. But we're talking about Spider-Man here. We're not talking about just any superhero. We are talking about the number one superhero in the world. Who's Superman? It's Clark Kent. Who's Batman? It's Bruce fucking Wayne. Who's Spider-Man? It's Peter Parker. Miles Morales is a Spider-Man, but most people refer to him as Miles Morales, and that's the way it's been since his creation. Enoch Mamam for $20. I'm glad, dude, it filled my timeline. It filled it. And it was just a stupid little tweet in the gym. It's so good. Enoch Mamam. But just, if anything could be an example, I'm getting killed in that thing. People are roasting the shit out of me. And it's I don't care. I don't care. I'm 52. I don't give a shit. Let him call me everything under the sun. Better me than calling you that, you know? Enoch Mamon for $20. The worst thing about the Omicron variant is all the Transformer jokes. Come on, people. Where are the jokes about the Omicronians from Omicron, Persia 8? Am I the only person who has seen Futurama? No, you're not. You're not. But you might remember it better than everyone else. All right. Daredevil. Let's see if I can pull up this article. Oh, let's see Santa Inc. getting wrecked real quick, and then we'll talk about Daredevil. Let's do this. Oh, hey, there's the meetup. That's not it. Oh, bloody hell. I hate it when that happens. Sometimes the OBS doesn't catch, and I have to go back and forth, and there we go. And then I could go boom right there. Let's blow that up a little bit. So we can all read it. Santa Inc. or Satanic is getting wrecked, and that's the goal, says Slade Hale. Is Slade Hale new, John? I don't recall reading Slade's name. Is that your real name, Slade? Is your real name Slade? By every metric, Santa Inc. seems destined to go down in history as the Hindenburg of far-left pseudo-comedy. The new HBO Max series has been thoroughly exoriated? It's not exonerated. How about eviscerated? I want to use my word. On Rotten Tomatoes, with just 3% of viewers finding it favorable. To date, not a single professional critic has touched it with a 10-foot pole. Not true. Not true. Variety has done it. Which means Santa Inc. is more radioactive than the elephant's foot in the basement of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Adult pretenders Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman have responded exactly as expected, almost on cue, and that's entirely the point. Well, yeah, they unironically misused grifters in their thing. It was so fucking bad. It's their middle-aged comedians past a prime they never had, making shit for an audience that doesn't laugh. Audiences knew that Santa Inc. was going to be a disaster from the moment the first trailer dropped on YouTube, netting an eye-watering and unfathomable 100K dislikes in record time. By the way, proper credit goes to Chris Gore and Ryan Kinnell. My boy Ryan. And we went over this on Friday Night Tights 2 weeks ago. So Ryan did a reaction to the video. We went over it on Friday Night Tights. Then it was off to the races. By the way, Friday Night Tights, I didn't even talk about Star Cruiser. We'll talk about that in a second. Coincidentally, this was before the higher-ups at the company managed to hide the dislike counter to protect the image of Joe Biden's official White House page and a number of woke leftist properties. Next, they will hide the comments for the trailer, which has activated the Streisand effect. That's right. So it's gone. By the way, it's well over 100,000 likes. For the uninitiated, Santa Inc. is essentially the story of a female elf who wants to become the next Santa, and the show routinely laments the fact that Santa himself is a white male. It's about patriarchal society, and the other thing it pushes is that patriarchal society didn't actually build anything. They ripped everything off, and it's all just a fraud. Historically, Santa Claus being white makes sense, seeing that he's fucking St. Nicholas. As Santa Claus characters drew heavily from a mixture of 4th century Christianity and North paganism. However, the left sees Santa Claus as little more than just another white male patriarch who must be supplanted and replaced. The meltdown began on Seth Rogen's official Twitter page, where he attacked the show's haters and labeled them white supremacists. The standard tactic of the left use whenever someone disagrees with them. We argue that it is not, in fact, a knee-jerk reaction, but the intended purpose for the show. That's what I argued early on. This show was made so they could call you white supremacist. You can say no, and that's the marketing. And this isn't the first show that's done it. As a matter of fact, I have made quite a few videos on this channel explaining what fake woke marketing is. My most recent example is James Bond. This is an old tactic that's been going on for 4 to 5 years, and it doesn't really work. That's the thing, is it doesn't work. It creates a lot of clicks on especially the very left-leaning, very heavily emotional, and mostly female Twitter. For one, my Miles Morales comment on YouTube will be met with more of a cross-section of reality, which is, I like Miles Morales, but I can see your point that he's called Miles Morales. Like all the people assuming that I just hate Miles Morales, which I don't. I didn't mind Into the Spider-Verse. I see some of the subversion of characters that's been going on for a long, long time, but I just saw it as an alternate reality animated thing that didn't make a bunch of money. It won awards, but it only did like 30 mil, 35 mil domestically, I think, maybe 60. But Spider-Man movies regularly make $1 billion, and it didn't. By the way, it was written by the guys Kathleen Kennedy fired from Solo. We really pissed off tens of thousands of white supremacists with our new show, Santa Inc. Satanic, which is now available on HBO Max. That's exactly it. So that's what he wanted. And I totally trolled him into watching our show and reviewing it. Except I found purpose in this review. I did. It's so clearly how Hollywood sees the world. It's so clearly everything they hate about traditional America, because they just see, you know what? The family of the nuclear family in Kansas who decorates their house every year. Pop goes to work. Maybe mom goes to work, or maybe she stayed home, raised the kids. Little Tommy, little Sally. They go to soccer practice. They hate that shit. They think it's just fucking evil. Where we, on the other hand, think something like that's kind of nice. It's kind of the American dream. And we think being in your 50s and going to raves and still dropping E, probably being hooked on opiates, or at least Adderall, is at least the ninth circle of hell. I wouldn't call it evil because it's still self-destructive. Evil is hiding all the pedos. The inevitable blowback to Santa Inc. feels like it was anticipated by Seth Rogen and his ilk. It most definitely was from day one. The meltdown felt pre-scripted, almost as if Rogen knew it was going to come. Yep. All of it is. Doctor Who. Az and I talked about it. We talked about it for 2.5 hours yesterday. Doctor Who, the female doctor, the whole point of it was so they can call you a misogynist, a Doctor Who fan. That was part of the marketing. That was going to get, they were going to make it a movement marketing. You know who did it to perfection? You know where it was absolutely successful through and through? Black Panther. Some of the best marketing I have ever seen. They turned at best, 7 out of 10 superhero movie into a cultural moment. They actually manufactured one, that's like I'm going to go make a viral video. So it's a rarity. So no, it's baked into everything. It is. We know this. I've heard this from people. It's part of it. And it fucking sucks because we point it out and we get called the haters when they're the haters. They are basing their marketing on hate. They're trying to create it. They're the ones who introduce the politics. They're the ones who introduce the agenda, the ideology, the intersectional feminism. I didn't write this shit. I just react to it. So no, Doctor Who, the only thought that was put into the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, was the announcement. And because they're blinded by their whole ideology, they didn't think they had to put any work into it after that. They had no respect for the fandom. And and you know what? Jodie Whittaker was the wrong person for the job. She didn't want to shoulder any responsibility for ingratiating herself to the fans. It was just another role to her. And that's why she'll go down as I do believe there was an article that came out that was referring to an older interview that I've actually covered a couple of years ago. She had mentioned in her podcast with David Tennant, oh, what if I fuck this up? Hey, Jodie, you fucked it up. You and Chris fucked it up. And no, I'm not going to, she doesn't get to skirt the responsibility. Oh, no, folks. I mean, I wish her luck in her future endeavors and all that stuff. But Doctor Who being a practice in the male gaze, previous Doctor Who got old. but then you didn't do any of your fucking homework? You didn't respect the show at all? No. It was all part of it. Gay Superman, it was all to get a reaction out of you. That's it. And it's okay. React. Go ahead and react if you're pissed off. Because we could be quiet. You're right. There's a bunch of people, if we don't quiet, they'll stop doing it and they'll go away. No, they're not going to stop doing it. But definitely choose your battles. You know, and that's where we get into just, it gets subjective. There's some things that I won't see as that woke that some people might. And that's what we're going to talk about in just a second. Let me finish up this article. There's a couple things we got to talk about. Oop, wrong one again. Demand, okay, yeah, so it's simple. The left are trying to convince themselves that the social justice issues they whine about on a daily basis actually exist. The determination, isn't it funny? This is exactly what I was talking about earlier on in the live stream. The determination to find white supremacy wherever it may lurk is akin to Indiana Jones staring down 1,000-year-old death traps and ancient ruins to acquire coveted gold idols. No feat is too perilous, and no stone is left unturned. Yet the search turns up dry. These same deranged activists cannot cope with the empty-handedness. Demand for racism in the country far exceeds availability and supply by an astronomical margin. And if you can't validate your theory that a white supremacist terrorist lurks on every street corner with a noose in their hand, your best bet is to invent them out of cloth, out of whole cloth. I could not agree more. Hollywood needs Nazis to exist, desperately wants them to exist. And they fucking don't. You've turned into what you hate, Hollywood. You know, it's a complicated thing. Remember the Red Scare in Hollywood that ended up being pretty fucking legitimate? But Hollywood's whole attitude, it was just a bunch of paranoid people. Well, they've turned into their perception of what the Red Scare was. Not of what it was, of what their perception of it was. Because it ended up being fucking true. 2 Razor Fist videos. Watch them. Consider the case of disgraced actor Jesse Smollett, the Empire star who claimed he was accosted, beaten up, and threatened by 2 white men at 3 o'clock in the morning with MAGA hats in Chicago at a subway. Every single leftist journalist and news outlet immediately ran with the story as a fact. Even current U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. Wait for it.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Bought the narrative only to walk it back in one of the most cringeworthy moments of her failed political career when it was alleged that Smollett faked the entire thing by hiring 2 Nigerian men to pose as the supposed Trump-supporting white supremacists. Those same news outlets and politicians were forced to navel gaze in utter embarrassment. Yep. Did you bring up the fact that Sarah Silverman misidentified fucking Nazi symbols as construction things too? I'm not going to go over this whole thing because I'm going to make a video on this subject too. I think the guy's making some great points here. Slade. There is unconfirmed speculation that Karl Marx once said, accuse your enemy of what you are doing and as you are doing it to create confusion. I don't know if he said that, but I know that's what they do. It's called projection. It's called projection. For example, say a detractor goes after little old Nerdrotic for whatever reason. My opinion on Hawkeye, whatever. And they call me a grifter. So basically, if I'm a grifter, then I liked Hawkeye and I'm just bullshitting you guys. Like, I actually liked it. No, I didn't like it. I thought it sucked. I thought there were good moments, but I thought it sucked. I digress. But then we find out later that detractor admitted to being a grifter on YouTube. So, you just kind of go, nope, not that one, and move on. Regardless of quotes' true origins, this is a tactic that has been adopted brick for brick by far left, and the reason why Seth Rogen supposes meltdown over Santa Inc. makes so much sense. It features his ideology rather than a bug. I don't know if it's a meltdown. And that's what I'm going to argue. I think it's all part of the plan. I can promise you he's bothered that this thing is just getting downvoted to hell, because it gets really hard to say, well, it's the white supremacists and the Nazis when it's just fucking everybody. And by the way, Variety roasted this thing. They said it sucked. It's a feedback loop. It's a feedback loop. Hollywood will not heed this fact, but we will continue to try. Hollywood had best take heed of this fact. Stop alienating the overwhelming majority of the population simply to appease the estimated 6% of the American populace who buy into this garbage. It's much more than 6%, but it's not the majority. It's not the majority. We are the majority, but we are made to feel fragmented and what's the word? Marginalized. The word that they like to use. They like to actually marginalize us. They do. I'm called QAnon now. So all of you, you're QAnon because you watch this channel. Weak. Fucking weak. What's up? You're on camera. Say hi. Okay. She brought me coffee. She's a winner. That one. 3%. I think that's 3% too high. Thanks. Hail, Mrs. Nerdrotic, by the way. Thanks for the coffee. So we need to talk about the cause and why people abandon the cause real quick. And Daredevil. So I'll close out my thoughts on Daredevil. Good article. Go check it out. Love John F. Trent. Love Bounding into Comics. They've always been good friends. I met John in New York. Hung out with them. This is before the coup started at New York Comic Con. We both got there for press. And John is a genuinely nice guy, loyal guy. So yeah, I love him. We're going to get him on FNT soon. He just had a baby about a year ago now. Happy early Christmas. Love your show. Thank you, Nathan Cinder, for $49.99. I appreciate that. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Is Hanukkah over or is there still a day left? I can't remember, but I hope you had a happy Hanukkah. And you know what was one of the coolest things about like this live stream? At times, there is Father Christopher Miller and there's Svi Levetkin, who is the rabbi from another planet. In the chat, along with probably a couple of atheists, hosted by an agnostic. And it's all good times. We got some Mormons, Got some Jehovah Witnesses. It's all good. It's all good here. I get encouraged every time I do a meetup. I see that you're just like regular people, you know? You're not the QAnons, or, you know, and like, I'm not going to get into QAnon, but just accusing me of being that is pretty silly. But that won't stop them. Gary, thank you. By the way, this is from Ruben Christopher Haynes, a member for 6 months. Gary, thank you for everyone here for being genuine. I am so blessed by you all. Let's keep fighting for our great creators and the future, and have more talent than the woke mob. Packing for Florida now. Looking forward to 2022. Good luck getting to Florida. We are packing for Texas. I can't wait to get the fuck out of California. And good luck to you on your move, sir. And I can't wait to see you in Orlando. I had a great idea for Orlando that hopefully I can remember to tell Jeremy, because it was a really good fucking idea. All right. So, real quick, because I do got to wrap things up. We're going to go over some super chats. Daredevil. I'm excited to see Charlie Cox back. I think he's fucking great. I think he's great. I didn't like Daredevil season 3 as much as season 1 and 2 because he wasn't wearing the costume. It bothered me that much. Plus, there's a whole Karen Page fucking story that I didn't give a shit about. And that's because the showrunner of The Witcher was part of the Daredevil season 3. Drew Goddard put together Daredevil season 1 of Buffy fame, and then Stephen DeKnight wrote it. Now, Stephen DeKnight has said some stupid shit on Twitter too, but those guys they're masculine. They know how to write masculine things. Daredevil is fucking masculine. It is bloody. It is not kid comic books. It stopped being a kid's comic book a long time ago. But you know what? I read Frank Miller Daredevil at the perfect age. I was 12. I was a kid, just about to get into puberty. And I was so, it's one of the few, it sent me on my nerd journey. Like, that story blew me away. I read it over and over again. It's still the greatest thing I've read in comic books. As soured as I was on Spider-Man, who used to be my favorite character, I've never soured on Daredevil. I just love the character. And he's a blind guy. He doesn't have any superpowers, but he does. I love his superpower. But I love the other part of his superpower, the man without fear. I love that he's the man without fear. That's my favorite thing about him. Plus, he's got a good costume, too. But that show was so fucking good. And when I saw Charlie Cox for the first time, I'm like, fuck, can they get a redhead? Can they get a ginger? But, dude, I was sold on him in minutes. I was like, oh, no. That's Matt Murdock. Holy shit. And they got Foggy right. And then they got the True Blood girl. Oh, no complaint there. And then Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin was, everything about it was just perfection. I mean, just talking about it, I want to watch it again. I can watch that shit over and over again. It's bloody. It's gory. It's fucking gory. A guy gets decapitated with a car door, and blood is just gushing everywhere. And I mean, like, Daredevil's like spends most of the season just like he is in the comic books. He's Marvel's punching bag, and it's fucking great storytelling. Don't get some fucking hack like, I forgot who are the directors for Hawkeye, Birdie and Birdie, like some hipster lesbians or whatever. If the hipster lesbians have a background in action, fight coordination, sure, then hire them. Great. I would do everything in my power if I was Disney, and they're not going to do this, to get Drew Goddard back. And then maybe you can have a good Daredevil. Maybe. But if you get some hack who directed a couple of independent films, and you go out and you get, say, a female writer who has no background in comics, but you just want to cast a female writer, because that's what they do now. They cast directors, they cast writers, and they put most of these shows together. and they've been busted on this multiple times, and I've showed you this in the past. These are Kevin Feige productions. And Kevin Feige used to be the golden boy. He did, but he's not anymore. He's just flat out not. He bought into the system at some point. He started thinking his farts don't stink. I don't know what it is. He started thinking his ideas were better than the ideas in the comic books. And Marvel just got lazier. I mean, they're not wearing fucking costumes anymore. And we finally get Hawkeye in a costume, and it looks terrible. It looks fucking terrible. By the way, he's going to get it from Kate Bishop. And the symbolism with that is fucking MCU. Everything about Hawkeye is MCU. For people, this segues into something else. Abandoning the cause. So again, this channel was criticized for a lot of things, but it was criticized for seeing something that wasn't there. Bullshit. Hawkeye is bait and switch. Hawkeye is MCU. It's the same thing certain people were pointing out in comic books 3 years ago that are now happening in the fucking show. And guess what? More people are seeing it than that comic book you were talking about 3 years ago, or your comic book video where you were talking about the comic book in three years ago. And that's why I bring it up. I even call back to that. I'm like, this shit has all happened before in the comic books. It was the proving ground for this. I have been saying it for years. But to say something isn't woke that you yourself called woke 3 years ago. What's changed? What's changed? So, the cause. My cause is I just want good Doctor Who. I would love for Doctor Who to be at a place with the fandom that it was in 2010, 2009. I don't want hardcore right-wing politics injected in the fucking Captain America. It'd be nice to see some balance. I'd like to see balance. Kind of like what South Park does most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. I like to see balance. That's what I'd like to see. Brought back in the world, brought back in our entertainment, brought back to politics, brought back to the news. I don't know if it'll happen, but that's what I'd like to see. That's what my secret agenda is. But, sometimes people dip out because it gets to be too much. They get tired of being like, mixing it up on Twitter. They get tired of being called a white supremacist or somebody who fucks their dog, or you have a face I'd like to punch, or whatever we get called. Best suggestion for that is just, don't mix it up on Twitter. You don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to mix it up. Again, if you want to take the time, go look at my timeline right now. Well, you can't see it like I can, but go look at my tweet, the Miles Morales tweet, and just go look at that. Like, I don't care. And if somebody abandons the cause, and this is it's how the audience perceives this. And I'm as much an audience member as I am a content creator. I watch all the YouTube. I watch a ton of fucking YouTube. Some people get out of it because they are just not into it anymore. Some people get out of it because they're tired of the abuse. And some people are out of it and they don't know it. And I see that. It's very similar to people who are habitually buying comic books and just stopped reading them. And they find excuses as to why they weren't reading them other than, I just don't want to read these anymore. Reason I bring this up is I don't know if every channel's this way, but I've been doing my thing. I cover my stuff. I do my thing. And over the last 7 or 8 months, my name has been embroiled in a bunch of drama, right? That is peripheral, but I had no direct hand in, didn't say anything. There's nothing I can do about it. And responding to lies validates lies. So that's why I don't respond. But it had little to nothing to do with my channel at all. I've kept my mouth shut, and I will continue to keep my mouth shut. And the reason I do that is because if we're squabbling, if you're out there, if you in the audience are squabbling about stuff, like, dude, people are going to have their favorite YouTubers, and they're going to go like, that guy sucks, and I like that. That's fine. That's normal. That's normal. That's normal fan stuff, and I get it. But if we're actually about the cause, if it's something you're serious about, and it is. I'm not using this to go do something else. This is it for me. This is it. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Maybe I'm a big fucking idiot, but I believe in this. And I believe we can win. I believe there's a ton of fucking work to do, but we can win. We can absolutely win. But it's just going to take a long time. And it's going to take, sometimes with certain channels, you got to check your ego and think about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is not having you guys squabbling with each other. Some people actually want that very badly. I don't. It's a customer movement. Whatever it is, it's a customer movement. So the customer needs to be respected. And that's why it'll always be focused on you and not a superstar. Even if it is a superstar, a movie star that speaks our language. It's just not going to be the focus. Again, I've had a couple of opportunities. I thought about it long and hard. I did. And it was some great opportunities. But I said no. Because I just want to keep it fan-based. Just fan-based. Made for fans by a fan, which is all I am. Now, sometimes, people evolve. I understand that. Sometimes a channel goes from critic to creative, and their complete attitude and perspective shifts. I'm going to stay, I don't know, critic is the right word, but I'm going to be staying with the fans. If we make something in the future, I'll let you know. But no intentions on doing that right now. And yeah, it's going to be a long fight, and it's going to get repetitive. And some people are going to say, nope, you're seeing something woke there that's not there. And they may or may not be right. That's just part of the journey. We're going to make mistakes. But then we get a Santa fucking Inc. Something that just so perfectly displays everything about our arguments, right to the reactionary part of it, to the, yes, they planned this, and we still have to point it out. So yeah, it was all part of, because they knew they had a fucking turd. They put a bunch of work into this. Hundreds of people worked on it. I don't think it got past too many people that this really fucking sucks. We need to do something else. But I'm glad they did this something else, because this shit wakes more people up every day. Yesterday on my Doctor Who live stream, somebody said, hey, love your stuff. Thank you, by the way. I've been here since your James Bond review, which came out 2 months ago. So we content creators got to, number one, try not to judge other people by our own standards. And number two, think that everybody's paying attention to every fucking word we say all the time, because they're not. We need to reset things, and we got to remember there's new people coming in constantly. And for me, and I don't know if this is good for content creation or not. This might not be. It might not be. I don't care. But being loyal and trying to mind my own fucking business. All right. Gonna read some soups. Wrap some stuff up. Fuck Santa Inc. And thank you all for being here. And thank you for supporting the channel and being hilarious and supporting Friday Night Tights. The chat is a major part of the show. That's why I try not to edit things out, because it removes the chat. I mean, and it makes a difference. By the way, when that chat is up, I get more views on Friday Night Tights than when it's not there. A lot more. So yes, you are part of the show. To the tune of 20 to 30,000 more if the chat is up. And that chat is calling me all kinds of shit. I don't care. But it's got you guys in there because, like, last week you were fucking hilarious. I mean, it's so fucking funny. And, I mean, half the show we were just roasting each other, which was good fun. It was good fun. My cheeks were hurt after last Friday. I had so much fucking fun. And Tyler and Adam were great. This Friday, oh my God, this Friday, Zuby and Drew Hernandez. Zuby and Drew Hernandez. Okay, I got rid of both of those. That's interesting. Nathan Cinder for $49.99. Thank you again. Says happy early Christmas. Love your show. Thanks. I appreciate it. F name I name for $5 says the U.S. must condemn the fascist tyranny of Australia, New York, Sweden, and Germany, etc. I completely agree. And if you're not worried, I mean, like, very concerned deep down to your soul, down to your bones about those camps in Australia, you should be. That's something to be really fucking worried about. Not a temperature change, not an Omicron, not a Delta. It's a government creating fucking camps and putting people there and people willingly going. That is a fucking problem. We showed the video of that young lady who was on her porch talking to the guys, and then we all got to see what she looked like, and we're like, who would lock? Yeah, she was hot. Hey, Gary, looking forward to Spider-Man and Lamplighter. We used to go there many years ago. It's a hoot. Yeah, I did not used to go to the Lamplighter, but I used to go to the AMC Mission Valley all the time. Gary, did you receive the painting I sent you? Yes. Chip. It's going to be I've got a huge toxic mailbag coming out this week because we're packing everything up, so I got to just get through everything. That painting is fucking awesome. It's actually right outside my door. I can go get it. You guys want to hang on just a second? I'll go get it. Hang on a minute. You're going to hear some silence.
Nerdrotic.com.
Damn it. That's not supposed to happen. Hang on. There. Okay. Hang on. Coming back. All right. Let's take a look at this. It's pretty awesome. I got a couple of paintings, so I'm hoping this is it. This is the most recent one. Oh, wow, my headphones were... Oh, whoops. Boom. Pretty dope. It smells painty too. I like that. I'm going to put that up in this new studio. So thank you. That's freaking awesome. You guys, I love what you guys have done with the logo. You can see that one's done out of beads. Half of it's covered. Sorry. Is that one? That's from another Gen 42, right? And then right there is another painting. That's pretty awesome. You guys are great. You're so fucking talented. So talented. All right, where was I? Paul, 1978 for $20 says, finished the Witcher books. Very disappointed in the ending. The series could have been called Ciri, the Master of Time and Space, and how she became a Witcher girl in King Arthur's court. What are your thoughts on the last few books? I haven't gotten to the last few books, Paul. But, you know what's funny is the writer. I think the vibe I got from the writer of The Witcher is that he didn't have a lot of contact with girls. So I think there was a lot of fantasy going on there, like normal nerd fantasy. Ciri is the girl, is the key to everything. I think The Witcher, some of the lore they set up is fucking awesome, and it's just misused. That's the way I'm seeing it right now, but I'm still playing the game. I'm desperate for some good high fantasy, with some proper lore. It's just one of the hardest things to create and something that comes across once every couple of generations. You know, big George R.R. Martin fan, big Song of Ice and Fire fan, still waiting for that fucking book that we're never going to see. Chip, thank you for the painting. Just got my 4K Rings Trilogy box set. Did you know that the 4K versions are split on 2 discs? I'm assuming the 4K resolution takes more data on the disc than the Blu-ray, says Frosty the Terminator for 10 Canadian pesos. It does. A lot more. A lot more. But remember the Blu-rays were split as well. If you recall, the extended versions of the Blu-rays were split as well. Joan of Arc 33 for $19.99. What did you, will you cover the new season of The Expanse? Which I said yes. Save the Mauler plushie. Oh, is it falling? Oh, ha! All right. There we go. Mauler is saved. I got it now. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Mauler? But like, yeah, you have to be really specific in this year. Room. Hale, what are your thoughts on the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck for Michael Smith by Michael Smith for $4.99? A super chat from Michael Smith. I'm fine. I like it. I like the director's cut. It's silly. It's a movie from the early 2000s, but I liked it. Except for, Colin Farrell's Bullseye was a bit much. But Michael Clark Duncan as a race-swapped Kingpin, I thought was fine for that movie. Elektra, miscast. Horribly miscast. But again, this was at a time where I never thought I'd see a Daredevil movie. So I thought pretty much this is the only Daredevil we're ever going to get. And I was like, all right. Smooth Jam California for £5 says, no, season 4 is the GOAT of all Doctor Who. Boomers have rose-tinted view of the 70s, who I love old school, but it's nowhere near as good as the RTD era. I think you have to look, the way I look at them is the sophistication of the writing is deep into the Fourth Doctor's run when Douglas Adams was there with City of Death was fucking good. But there's a reason New Who was very appealing to a lot of people because they sexied it up a little bit and the writing was much more complex. I fucking love the RTD era. And I said it is magical. It is one of the best eras of television. It's right up there with fucking Buffy with me. Would you ever, but I mean, like, it's almost apples and oranges because it was a different type of show under different circumstances. And what they were able to write with no money was phenomenal. They were, I mean, Russell T. Davies had a budget. Maybe not like Battlestar Galactica or anything, but he had a budget. They had no fucking budget in the 70s. Nothing. And they made, it was brilliant what they did. What would you have ever guessed that you would have had the technology to tell any story in any world we could imagine, and we all get remakes, says Morgan, for $50. Thank you. Yeah. I got to admit I was wrong. I thought we were going to experience a renaissance with the streaming service. We have unlimited money. We're getting the most television and film that we've ever gotten, ever. And I thought out of all this, it would create such competition that it would force people to be more creative. You know, like with the Joker. The Joker worked because they were forced to be creative. No, we're seeing the exact opposite. We're seeing no chances are being taken at all. They're just remaking shit. They're being lazy as possible. And they're so lazy, they think they can afford to lose audience. They're like, yeah, we're going to alienate some people, but they're all white supremacists anyway. And what they forget is, like, the people who actually buy shit are the blue-collar workers, are the middle-class families. Those are the ones that rule the world. They run this world here in this country, and they're alienating all of them. Daniel for $20. I feel exactly the same way about the Expanse book. I was fanatically recommending the books to my friends until book 6. Maybe a coincidence. Book 6 came out in 2016. The writers and poor story soured me on bothering with the show. Yeah. There's one particular, Michio Pa is a terrible character, an SJW character. Sony will have to treat Doctor Who like they did Ghostbusters, delete the crap, honor the past, and get on their hands and knees and beg the fans for forgiveness. I expect similar results. A success, albeit a marginal one, says Enoch Maman for $20. And that's only, and if only, they do exactly what you just said. All right. Crusty Jugglers. Hail, Nerdrotic. I wanted to thank you for recommending the Orville. My mom, my girlfriend, and I love it. It is my Star Trek. Fuck Picard and STD. You're welcome. And hopefully that show doesn't go south either. Okay? Yes, a nooner. Work is killing me. Stop ordering things online, damn it. Nick Nero. I have to do that too. My wife is killing me on that one. All right. I got to wrap it up. I'll get everything else on a square up, which will be part of the toxic mailbag. And I'm going to be showing off this. And holy crap. The biggest anime collection, instant weeb collection you've ever seen. Thanks to Anime Cami. So thank you for this. Don't forget the meetup on the 16th. Meetup on the 16th at the AMC Mission Valley 20, San Diego. 4:30 p.m. standard screening. Order your own tickets because the ones that were up for grabs are already gone. After movie meetup, 7:30 p.m. at the Lamplighter Karaoke Bar, 817 West Washington Street, San Diego, California, 92103. 7:30 p.m. I will be putting this on the community section and on Twitter and on Instagram. If you have any questions, email me at gary@nerdrotic.com. I will be passing out these. Now, I think I've got enough. I can't see like a gazillion people come into this thing, so I think I've got enough. I've got enough variants. I don't know about Spider-Man variants, but I got enough variants. But yes, I'll be passing out these, which are rare. Somewhat rare. I don't know what they go for on eBay. I haven't looked. We can look real quick before we go. I'm going to have to look over here. Let's go. And we'll say Spider-Man comic outpost variant. $24. Not bad. No, wait, that's not it. Oh, it's not on eBay. Oh, that's why I typed that wrong. All right, let's try this. Nope. It's not even on eBay. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's not my shop. Let's see. It looks like it goes for most places like $24. $25. There's Planet Comics, $25. Spider-Gwen. Fuck a Spider-Gwen. I think mine looks the best. All right. So thanks, everyone. Thank you to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and a donation. Again, they will be read on a super chat square that will go on Nerdrotic Live. My next live stream will be tomorrow morning on Az's channel, Real BBC, with Mahler and the Critical Drinker. So it's going to be a hell of a show tomorrow. Be sure to tune in 10 a.m. Pacific time. And then I'll be back with another nooner on Wednesday, Thursday, Star Trek Discovery review of the last 3 episodes live from San Francisco. And then Friday Night Tights with Zuby and Drew effing Hernandez. It's going to be great. Our lead up to the holidays, Az and I are going to work out like the Doctor Who watch parties, even if we got to just like skip sleep to make that happen. We want to watch some good stuff. I did survive watching Santa Inc. and Doctor Who in the same fucking day. So everybody, have a great day. Not all who wander are lost, and may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Nerdrotic.com. Stop eating my sesame cake.
Stop eating my sesame cake! Cake, 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 cake,
Pizza time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, fuck! God!
Head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Head on.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.